So thank you to all of our speakers. We've heard why floating Pennywort's a problem. We now have a bit of a better idea how to identify it. And Mike's described really well the role that volunteers can play. And I'd now like to tell you about Pennywort Alert, which is a collaborative project between RiverCare and the Environment Agency on the rivers Great Ouse and Witham. I'm going to talk very briefly about how to record your sightings. I'll do a quick walkthrough of iRecord and hopefully demystify it. I will ask you to spread the word and I'll tell you about some materials that we have available for that. I'm going to put a plea out for paddle and angling clubs on the River Great Ouse and the River Witham to get in touch with us to join Pennywort Alert, and I'm going to talk about what that might involve, and I'm going to talk really quickly about Check Clean Dry as well. Let's start with recording. So the reason that we're asking for sightings, I think, has been spoken about a few times tonight already. It's really fast growing. It's really hard to keep track of. I thought it was really interesting how Paige said that 98% of the rafts that they found in their survey were small, and that means that there's still time to tackle them before they get really big. And that kind of encapsulates why it's important for people to report their sightings if you think you've seen it. You all as river users, as walkers, local communities on the river, boaters, anglers, you know your patch of river better than anyone else, and you can be the eyes and the ears of your river. So if you see, or if you think you've seen some floating pennywort, take a photo if it's safe to do so, just like Lynsey said, and note the location that you've seen it. We're using iRecord to capture sightings, and we have two different geographic areas set up. This is the short URL for the Ouse Pennywort reporting, and this is the short URL for Witham Pennywort reporting, and I am going to click on this link and hopefully I'll be able to take you through the reporting system. So if you go to one of those links, you will be presented with this screen, and you'll see that this is the floating Pennywort Bedford Ouse activity. You don't need an account to enter a record. You can just click on here, enter a list of records. If you'd like to join the activity and look into other people's records, what other people are putting up, then absolutely make an account and join the activity. So entering a record, you're going to have three tabs here: about you, what did you see, and where was it? So first of all, you'll be asked to enter your details, and I'm going to go through how to enter a record. So I've entered my details. Like I said, you don't need an account, but it will ask you for an email address. And I think Leslie touched before on the reason for that, because you will get feedback on your report, whether or not it was floating pennywort. So next we're going to click on what did you see? So we're going to put a date in here. I'm going to say that I saw some on Sunday, and that's my name. So here under species, I think our activity is set up so you can only enter floating pennywort, so you can't go too far wrong. But if you type floating pennywort in, and you'll get this drop down box, so we'll just click on that blue box. And just like Leslie said, you don't have to be certain that it was pennywort. We would rather have the record if you're not sure. So you can say if you're certain, or you can say if it's likely, if you think it's likely. You can add a comment if you like, and if you click on this blue button, you can add your images directly from your computer, or you can drag files too. And that's fairly simple. And the last screen, where was it? This is obviously one of the most important pieces of information. So you'll be asked to enter a rough location. So I'm going to say Godmanchester, which is where I took that photograph that you saw on the slide before. You don't have to enter a spatial reference. Don't worry about having to know what exact grid reference it was, because we're going to use this map. You can left click and drag the map to move around. You can zoom in by double clicking. So I'm going to keep double clicking until I find the location that I saw. And at some stage, it's going to turn into a satellite image. There we go. And that's quite helpful actually for locating yourself. So I might say that I saw some floating pennywort here. I'll double click one more time. And then when we've got a red square and your grid reference has auto-filled, then you know that you're locked in. You can move it. You're not committed to that point. You can move your red square around if you're not sure until you get the right place. You can add another comment if you like, but you don't have to. And then you click submit, and that is all there is to it. I'm not going to submit that because I don't want to confuse Leslie. I hope that was fairly obvious. I know that was a really quick walkthrough. I'd be really happy to go through that with anyone who didn't quite get that. And we'll be sharing all of these presentations, so don't worry about scribbling down all of the web addresses. So next, another really valuable thing that you can do is to help us reach as many people as possible. Obviously, if you are all keeping your eyes open for floating pennywort, that's amazing. But if you can all tell 3 or 4 people, that's even better. Tell your friends, your family, anyone you know who has a boat, who boats on the Ouse, who walks along the Ouse or the Witham regularly. We share stuff on social media all the time, so please do share that. We also have these posters and postcards available, so if you have a club notice board or a village pin board that you'd be able to put one on, we'd really like to hear from you. You can go to this web address, bit.ly/free pennywort posters to register for one. We've got them specific for the River Great Ouse and the River Witham. And or you can just email us. We'd be really happy to send some out to you. And here is my plea to paddle clubs and angling clubs on the Witham and the Great Ouse. If you're a member of a canoe club or an angling club and you want to get involved in some of those small scale removal activities, or even surveying in more hard to reach places, so those places that don't have footpaths, where you can't get any bankside access. Like Mike said, it's really great to survey from a boat. You have a completely different vantage point. We would really love to hear from you if you can get involved with Pennywort Alert. We have support available, and that includes equipment, activity insurance, etc. And this is all in collaboration with the Environment Agency. So you can be sure that your efforts are going to be really focused on areas that do need attention. So, a stretch of river that hasn't been surveyed for a long time, or perhaps if there has been a big mechanical debulking activity and we need some paddlers to do a follow-up survey just to see whether anything is regrowing. And finally, a really important point to mention, because all year round, but especially because this is Invasive Species Week, is to always check, clean and dry any of your equipment which has been in a water course. Some non-native invasive species can survive up to 2 weeks out of water. And there are some real nasties around. I'm not only talking about floating pennywort. So if you can check all of your equipment, including all the hard to reach places, clean it all down, preferably with hot water, and leave it to dry for as long as possible, at least 3 or 4 days. I can't remember what the recommendation is, but there's lots more information on non-nativespecies.org/check clean dry. And that's especially goes for when you're moving between water courses as well. And finally, I just want to say thank you to everyone for coming. It's really nice to see so many people here. Please get in touch with us. Take a look at our website, follow us on social media, and let us know if you'd like some posters. If you want to get your club involved, we really want to hear from you. Or even if you just get confused with iRecord, I know it's not the most easy to use platform, and I'd be really happy to walk anyone through it again. I'm going to hand back to Kate now. Hopefully we've got time for some questions.